Introduction to the Book of Revelation. The Book of Revelation, also known as the Apocalypse of John, is the final book of the New Testament, and one of the most complex and controversial texts in the Bible. Traditionally attributed to John the Apostle, this book is a rich tapestry of symbolism, prophecy, and theology, offering a vision of the end times and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. Understanding Revelation requires navigating its apocalyptic language, historical context, and theological themes. Authorship and historical context. Authorship. The Book of Revelation is traditionally attributed to John the Apostle, though there is scholarly debate about the authorship. The text identifies its author as John, who is on the island of Patmos. Some scholars argue that this John is not the same as the author of the Gospel of John or the Letters of John, suggesting instead that it could be a different John known as John of Patmos. Historical context. Revelation was written during a period of intense persecution for early Christians, likely during the reign of the Roman Emperor Domitian, 81 to 96 AD. This context of persecution and suffering profoundly influences the book's content and themes. The text addresses the trials faced by the Christian communities of Asia Minor, offering them encouragement and hope amidst their suffering. Structure and themes. The Book of Revelation is divided into several distinct sections, each contributing to its overall narrative and thematic structure. 1. The Prologue and Letters to the Seven Churches, chapters 1-3. The prologue introduces the book as a revelation from Jesus Christ, given to John through visions. John is instructed to write down what he sees and send it to the seven churches in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey. These churches are Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. Each letter to the churches addresses specific issues and challenges faced by the communities, offering both commendations and criticisms. The letters serve as both a reflection on the state of the early churches and a template for addressing spiritual and moral issues in any era. 2. The Heavenly Vision and the Seven Seals, chapters 4-7. John's vision shifts to the heavenly realm, where he sees a throne and a figure seated upon it, surrounded by worshiping creatures. This vision establishes the divine authority and majesty that frames the subsequent events. The narrative then describes the breaking of 7 seals by the Lamb, Jesus Christ. Each seal introduces a new vision, revealing various judgments and calamities that will befall the earth. These include the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, representing conquest, war, famine, and death, as well as other significant events such as natural disasters and cosmic disturbances. 3. The Seven Trumpets, chapters 8-11. Following the opening of the seals, 7 trumpets are sounded by 7 angels, each heralding a new disaster or judgment. The trumpet judgments escalate the calamities and plagues, further intensifying the apocalyptic scenario. This section includes the famous visions of the locusts and horsemen, as well as the final trumpet, which announces the kingdom of Christ. 4. The Cosmic Battle, the Woman and the Dragon, chapters 12-14. This section presents a symbolic narrative of the cosmic battle between good and evil. It introduces a woman clothed with the sun, representing the faithful community, and a great red dragon, symbolizing Satan. The dragon's attempts to destroy the woman and her child lead to a heavenly war, in which Michael and his angels defeat the dragon, casting him down to earth. The narrative also includes visions of 2 beasts, one rising from the sea and one from the earth, symbolizing oppressive political and religious powers. These beasts demand worship and enforce their rule, leading to the infamous Mark of the Beast, 6666. 5. The 7 Bowls of Wrath, chapters 15-16. The 7 bowls of wrath are poured out by 7 angels, representing the final and most severe judgments upon the earth. These bowls bring about a series of devastating plagues and disasters, culminating in the destruction of Babylon, the symbol of human pride and rebellion against God. 6. The Fall of Babylon and the Final Victory, chapters 17-20. Babylon, depicted as a great prostitute, is judged and destroyed by divine wrath. This destruction symbolizes the end of corrupt and oppressive systems that oppose God. Following the fall of Babylon, the vision moves to the final victory of Christ over evil. This includes the return of Christ, the binding of Satan, and the establishment of Christ's millennial reign. The final judgment is depicted. where the dead are resurrected and judged according to their deeds. Those whose names are not found in the book of life are cast into the lake of fire. 7. The new heaven and new earth, chapters 21-22. The concluding chapters describe the creation of a new heaven and a new earth, where God dwells with humanity. This new creation is characterized by the absence of suffering, death, and pain. The New Jerusalem, a magnificent city, descends from heaven, symbolizing the perfect and eternal communion between God and His people. The book concludes with an invitation to come to Christ and a final affirmation of the truth and certainty of the visions revealed. Our symbolism and imagery. The Book of Revelation is renowned for its rich symbolism and imagery, which can be both fascinating and perplexing. Understanding these symbols is key to interpreting the text's meaning and message. Chapter 1. The Lamb. The Lamb symbolizes Jesus Christ, who is portrayed as both a sacrificial offering and a victorious ruler. The image of the Lamb who was slain yet lives represents the paradox of Christ's suffering and triumph. 2. The Beast. The two beasts in Revelation symbolize oppressive powers that oppose God. The beast from the sea is often interpreted as a representation of imperial Rome or a future totalitarian regime, while the beast from the earth represents false religion or ideology that supports and enforces the first beast's rule. 3. The number 66666. The number 666 is famously associated with the mark of the beast. While interpretations vary, it is often understood as a symbol of imperfection or incompleteness, contrasting with the number 7, which represents divine perfection. The number 6666 is sometimes linked to specific historical figures or systems of oppression. The New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem represents the ultimate fulfillment of God's promises to His people. Its description as a city of precious stones and gold symbolizes purity, beauty, and the eternal presence of God. Theological themes. 1. Divine sovereignty. One of the central themes of Revelation is the sovereignty of God. The book presents a vision of God as the ultimate ruler of the universe, whose plans and purposes are fulfilled despite the apparent chaos and suffering on earth. The imagery of God's throne and the Lamb's authority underscores the theme of divine control over history and destiny. 2. Judgment and redemption. Revelation emphasizes both judgment and redemption. The judgments depicted in the book serve as a response to human sin and rebellion, while the ultimate redemption offered through Christ represents the fulfillment of God's plan for salvation and restoration. 3. The cosmic battle. The cosmic battle between good and evil is a key theme in Revelation. The book portrays a spiritual warfare that transcends earthly conflicts, illustrating the ongoing struggle between the forces of darkness and the divine forces of light. The hope of new creation. Despite the dramatic and often distressing imagery of judgment and destruction, Revelation concludes with a vision of hope and renewal. The creation of a new heaven and a new earth signifies the ultimate triumph of God's kingdom and the restoration of creation to its intended glory. And interpretations and approaches. The book of Revelation has been interpreted in various ways throughout history, reflecting different theological, historical, and literary perspectives. 1. Preterist interpretation. The preterist view interprets Revelation as a description of events that occurred in the 1st century AD, specifically the struggles of early Christians under Roman rule. According to this view, the symbols and imagery of Revelation reflect historical events such as the fall of Jerusalem and the persecution of Christians. 2. Historicist interpretation. The historicist approach views Revelation as a depiction of the entire course of church history, from the time of the early Christians to the end of the world. This interpretation seeks to identify the symbols and events described in Revelation with historical events and figures throughout history. 3. Futurist interpretation. The futurist perspective interprets Revelation as a prophecy of events that will occur in the future, particularly at the end of the world. According to this view, the book describes a sequence of end-time events leading up to the second coming of Christ and the final judgment. 4. Idealist interpretation. The idealist view sees Revelation as a symbolic representation of the ongoing struggle between good and evil, rather than a literal description of specific events. This interpretation emphasizes the timeless spiritual and moral lessons of the book, rather than focusing on historical or future events. The impact of Revelation. The Book of Revelation has had a profound impact on Christian theology, literature, art, and culture. Its vivid imagery and apocalyptic themes have inspired countless works of art, music, and literature, as well as influencing Christian eschatology and doctrine. 1. Influence on Christian theology. Revelation has shaped Christian understandings of eschatology, the study of end times, and the ultimate destiny of humanity. Its themes of judgment, redemption, and the new creation have been central to Christian teachings on the final things and the nature of God's kingdom.